Hello, Mrs. McCoy.
No.
Hi. So I want to thank you for agreeing to meet with us to use Coach to help plan for Matthew's IEP. We are glad you are here to help us understand your family's perspectives about his or her educational needs and priorities. So the purpose of the Coach Family Interview, is for all of us to gain a better understanding of what you think is important for Matthew, so the educational team can develop and implement an appropriate IEP for him. Coach includes 9 categories of curriculum with corresponding learning outcomes that typically are not included in the general education curriculum. These learning outcomes are not designed to replace the general education curriculum. They are meant to augment or extend it. That is why it is so important to complete later steps of Coach, where we will ensure that Matthew has appropriate access to the general education curriculum available to his or her classmates without disabilities. So this is going to take about 60 to 90 minutes to complete. Is that all right with you?
Fine.
Okay, great. If you need to take a break, feel free to let me know. Is that all right?
Okay.
Great. I will ask you a series of questions. Listen carefully to your responses and record them if you would like. The questions start broadly in order to consider many possibilities. As we proceed, the questions are designed to help you focus in on what you think are the most important learning outcomes for Matthew to work on this year. Because the interview includes so many questions, we will be asking you to share brief answers. If there's anything you do not want to answer, it's okay to say that you're not comfortable with answering those questions. By the end of the Coach Family Interview, you will have selected a small set of learning outcomes that you think are the most important for Matthew to work on in the coming year, and should be listed on the IEP as annual goals. After the interview is completed, we will share your selections with the other team members who were not present today. The priorities you identified to be included in the IEP will be worded as annual goals with short-term objectives or benchmarks for your review. Next, we need to complete steps 2.1 and 2.2 of Coach to identify the additional learning outcomes, and step 3.0 to identify the general supports that will be part of Matthew's overall educational plan. Do you have any questions before we get started? I have to follow this script, so bear with me while we get through it, but I'm going to be able to kind of be a little bit more open as we get into the questions. But did you have any questions?
No, that's fine.
Great. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so this next, the first topic that I want to kind of talk to you about is Matthew's safety and health. Is this okay to, are you okay with answering questions about his safety and health?
Yes.
Great. Do you have any current health or safety concerns about Matthew that you would like to see change over the next year or so?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the next few questions, and it has to do with Matthew's home and where he lives and where maybe you see him living in the future. Are you okay with answering these questions?
Yes.
Okay. Where and whom does Matthew currently live with?
He lives with his mother and his older brother in a house in Huntington Beach, California.
Okay. Thank you. If everything goes as you hope, then do you anticipate that Matthew will continue to live in this same type of setting throughout the school years?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Would you like to talk about where a desirable type of setting would be for Matthew to live as a young adult? Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. And again, it's okay to say no to this question, as it might be a little bit too soon to talk about it, but you're okay with talking about this?
Sure.
Great. So what type of setting do you see Matthew living in when he becomes a young adult?
Hopefully he'll go to college, so a college setting, and then on to his own apartment, possibly, or maybe even a shared apartment.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Is there any type of future living setting for Matthew that you would like to avoid? Something that you would not want to see him in?
Homelessness.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. We'll do one more question, and then we'll take a break if you'd like. Are you interested in talking about any meaningful relationships in Matthew's life right now? The meaningful relationships he has in his life.
Sure.
Great. Who are the people, and this could be family neighbors and friends, that Matthew spends the most time with during a typical week?
Well, of course, he has after school care, so he is involved with a daycare giver. And also he's close to the neighborhood friends, and
Okay.
across the street he plays with his friend Joe. And he has a couple other friends sometimes that stop by.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mrs. McCoy.
You're welcome.